A very good afternoon and welcome to KTN News Desk on this 4th day of January 2017. We'll be having a number of top stories we are keeping an eye on for you this afternoon, including an update on the doctor's strike, where we expect an update from our Mombasa correspondent Francis Ontomwa. We'll also be giving you an update in regard to what's happening in the various political fronts, where Wiper Party has named an elections team board that will be spearheading the elections inside the Wiper Party. Over and above that, we'll also be giving you some latest news from the world of sports. But first things first, let's start you off with that top story that I did mention. My name is Aby Agina. Well, an update regarding the doctor's strike, and the government officials are scheduled to take a meeting in Mombasa today, which is yet to take off. Officials of the Doctors Union, KMPDU, are still awaiting word from the government officials. This meeting was to take place at State House, Mombasa. Let us now link up with our reporter Francis Ontomwa for more details about this story. Good afternoon, Ontomwa. What's the latest in regard to this developing report around the doctor's strike? Do we have a deal for the doctors?
Well, a good afternoon to you, Aby Agina, and we are reporting right from the middle of Mombasa town here. And up till now, there is a lot of confusion regarding this particular meeting. Until until noon, actually, was speaking to union officials, and they were still stranded in Mombasa, within the town, actually, waiting still to be called, actually, by officials at the State House so that they go have that particular meeting. There is a group of people, actually, from sources near some sources near the union who are saying, actually, that the meeting has already kicked off. Though until now, we cannot really give that particular confirmation. Because until noon today there was that particular confusion. But there is a huge air of hope actually here regarding that particular meeting, being the very first time that we are seeing the president directly now involved in these particular matters. And what we are actually expecting is perhaps the government will be able to state, or rather table, what they consider to be their review of the affair, so that the union actually embraces this particular issue to end the month-long strike that has dogged, of course, all public health centers actually across the country. Therefore, this particular time, there is no deal yet, because the official nor the state, no one has really come out to talk about it. But until now, we understand that the meeting could be going on as per regards the kind of insinuations that we are getting from some sources.
Do we know if the president actually did invite the officials from the union, or what have you since been able to establish? Was this a meeting that was scheduled on the president's diary?
The communication team the president's communication team has not really confirmed this particular meeting, but of course it was a meeting that it was actually a notification that went through that the union was going to meet the president today. And what we understand is the fact that it was between the president and the union. The Council of Governors, which was also widely expected, will feature in this particular meeting. We understand that they will be missing in action. And what has been the fear of many is that perhaps there could actually come out a truce between the union and the state, but then we may actually have the Council of Governors also wanting to, or rather questioning, why they were not involved in this particular matter. And therefore, it might be injurious in a way, because the Council of Governors, being key stakeholders, the health docket, we understand, is a devolved function. Therefore, it may actually be able to, the Council of Governors may actually want to raise a few concerns here and there. Aby Agina.
Thank you very much, Francis Ontomwa, coming to us live from Mombasa, updating us on the latest regarding the doctor strike. We do expect more updates from that side of town, with State House confirming that they were set to brief the media and also have a meeting with the doctors. We'll see how that goes in the few coming days. Well, moving on, commuters had a rough time trying to secure public transport as schools reopened today. Some of the commuters, including primary school students, arrived at the bus terminal as early as 6 a.m. but faced a hectic time booking vehicles. Transport companies took the opportunity to hike bus fares, with some recording full bookings to various destinations. At the Afia Center bus stage, several passengers were stranded with no vehicles in sight, forcing them to wait for long hours with uncertainty of traveling. Here's more.
Fika saa 12:30 asubuhi na tumengoja gari mpaka saa hizi hatujapata, na tuliambiwa inatoka saa 1. So nilikuwa naharakisha nikikimbia, hata huko kazini sijaomba ruhusa. Sasa nimekuja hapa, tumekaa tunashindwa management iko aje hiyo ya Transline. Tunaomba tu watushughulikie, hata watuletee gari watoto waingie shule waende shuleni.
Tulifika hapa actually before 6 na watu wako wengi, so kuna lack of cars, magari ziko kidogo. Sasa inabidi watu wangoje ndio wa distribute magari, kila mtu apate kwenda, lakini ka hujabook kuna shuttles zinachukua watu na 800, lakini watu ni wengi.
Tutafika saa ngapi shule?
Naweza kufika saa 1. Inalingana na venye basi naenda.
Tumeambiwa tungoje the next bus yenye inakuja ndio tutapanda, lakini tumekawia sana.
To some politics now, and Wiper Party has announced a new set of officials who will take charge of the party elections. Party Secretary General Omar Hassan unveiled the new members of the National Elections Board at the party headquarters in Nairobi a while ago.
As per Article 11 of the party constitution, the mandate of the National Elections Board is to plan, organize, coordinate the Wiper Democratic Movement Kenya internal party elections, as well as the party's presidential, parliamentary, senatorial, gubernatorial, women, special representative and civic nominations throughout the Republic of Kenya in readiness for the general elections across the TA. So now, as a requirement, I convened the meeting under what we call our elections and nomination rules. Article 4.1.3 says, at the first meeting of the National Elections Board, convened by the National Executive Committee, that was I who convened it on behalf of the National Executive Committee, on the 22nd of December, the board shall elect a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary from among themselves. So therefore, further to these appointments, the board met and elected on the 22nd of December 2016 and elected Mr. Hassan Sheikh Ali as the chairperson of the National Elections Board.
We'll make sure as a committee that we will meet and confirm to Kenyans that something can be done in a third world setting where literally people have actually lost hope. We have a team here who are very competent, who are very experienced, and who are of good, high moral standing within the society. We'll make sure that we use that to our advantage. So the bottom line, and what every person who will be running on a Wiper ticket, and I'm sure it will be having a trickling down effect, is that a free and fair nominations will be the way forward, so that we can have an election that will be peaceful, an election which will remain as a record for the future generations of this country.
Well, we want to explore this matter further around Wiper Party naming the team that will be steering the elections process in that particular party. We are now joined by reporter Wambua from our City Center studios. And good afternoon, Wambua. Perhaps what is the significance of Wiper Party making this announcement that they have set up their elections team? What does this symbolize for the party?
Thank you very much, Aby. And just to mention is that the Wiper Party has now put a foot forward in preparation for the 2017, this year's general election come August. And this is away from all the drama to do with the election law on whether to have a backup, that is a manual backup or a digital backup. That is a debate that is ongoing now. But now the Wiper Party is now diverging from that to just ensure that they are the politicians who are vying on the Wiper party ticket, that the nomination is going to be fair and free. That is following now the unveiling of the chairman, vice chairman, and the secretary, and some other members of the board to come along later. But then, Aby, is just to mention just a question that has been asked by many people on whether the elections or the party primaries are going to be fair when it comes to the CORD nomination, the joint nomination in CORD. But then Omar Hassan, the Mombasa senator, and the Wiper party secretary general says that it is going to be a fair, free and fair nomination, citing that all the boards along the parties in CORD are going to break and then come as one to make sure that they conduct the joint nominations fairly. Back to you, Aby.
And Nicholas, just before we let you go, now that you're seeing these particular developments, what should you expect in the coming days? Has Wiper given a date on when it plans perhaps to hold party nominations? Do you have any particular indication of how soon this might happen? And perhaps also, do they have the funds to run this?
Aby, just to mention is that CORD, but ODM did their nomination, selected their board last year, and this is a way that is going along all the parties that are in CORD. Now Wiper has followed, and we are waiting to see Moses Wetangula's party. And if it is going to be NASA, then if they form the NASA team, as they are calling it, then it means that also Amani Concre's party, that is Musalia Mudavadi, will also have to bring or to have their board in place. So that means that all the parties in CORD then may have to follow the Wiper line and ODM line to make sure that they have their boards in place for the party primaries. So Aby, concerning the nominations, then the Wiper, they are going to give a communication on when to have their meeting, that the National Congress meeting, on where maybe they are going to be conducting their party primaries. But then just to mention is that they have fielded, as a Wiper party, they fielded Kalonzo Musyoka as the party leader currently to run on the Wiper ticket. That is there a way to mention as CORD what or who is going to run for the CORD ticket? So Aby, on the communication on when to have the National Delegates Conference, that is going to be communicated.
All right. Many thanks there, Nicholas Wambua, just breaking it down for us on what this development around the Wiper party naming its elections team means in the political landscape. We want to take regarding the back-to-school rush. We want to speak to our reporter, Cecilia Wakesho, who is standing by in Kayole at Light Academy, where some students did go back to school, but they were forced to go to another school. We now want to get more details into this. And good afternoon, Wakesho. What do we know so far about this development around this academy?
A very good afternoon to you, Aby Agina. And I'm right here at New Light Junior Academy in Kayole, where it's a beehive of activities. Parents bringing their children, especially the class 1 children, pupils joining class 1 were here very early in the morning with their parents, as well as class 7 and 8. But then for the case of class 1, we've had parents with so many concerns. Most importantly, there are parents who are saying that their children who have been labeled to be not so bright, they've been separated from those who seem to be bright, being brought to a school here in Kayole, other than the ones they were in at Komarok, where they were in their the pre-unit schools. And we have one of the parents who is going to tell us exactly probably what she has gone through up to now. So if you could tell us, first of all, your name, and you start by telling us what really has happened. Why do you look so disturbed?
Okay, my name is Jedida Jambi. I'm a very frustrated parent because my son was in Komarok. And since he has been in Komarok, since baby class till pre-unit, so he was supposed to go to class 1. So today was admission day. We came here in the morning. The queue was very long, but we persevered. When I reached there, I was told my son has to go to class 1B. I asked them where. They told me in Kayole. I asked them, why is it my son is going to Kayole and yet he was in Komarok? So no one wanted to answer me, but the owner of the school was there. And then I asked one of the staff. He told me you can talk to that lady. So I asked the lady, excuse me, ma'am, I have an issue. I want my son to go to Komarok. Then she told me, who are you to tell me? And yet we have the list of the children here. What do you want? I told her I want to know the criteria which you guys are using for me to know why my son is being taken in Kayole. But she was very rude to me. She didn't want to help me. She was just saying that she told me that we cannot miss clever children and the performance children. I asked them, how do you know they perform? Because in pre-unit, they don't perform. Yeah. They only graduate, they don't get the numbers. How do you use those, the recommendation that these ones are supposed to go to this one? So she told me, I have nothing to discuss, that is final. It's either she goes to Kayole or Komarok. I told the owner of the school, I cannot take my son to Kayole, and yet I took my son to Komarok. When we were joining the school, we were not told that my son is supposed to come to Kayole. So the owner of the school was very rude to me. She told me that she cannot mix under performance and the people performing. This school is the way he operates. I had cases whereby I told her, in this school, we buy a lot of books. Like, for example, my son is going to class 1, joining class 1. We've bought 200 pages, 25 books exercise, plus textbook. Where are all these books? Where are we taking them? She was just quiet. And then I asked her, we have a lot of issues as parents. We've never had sports day for these children, curriculum activity, it is never there.
Perhaps we'll talk more about that. Aby Agina, as you can see, this is one of the parents really raising the concerns. Today being an opening day, she didn't expect this. The child graduated so well in the previous school, and she knew her child was going to join class 1 in the same school in Komarok. But now the situation is, as you've heard from her. But we are here at the New Light Junior, so we are trying to wait. We've tried to reach the management really, and they've told us to wait. So we are left parking here. Probably with time we'll be able to get the comment from the principal, who will tell us why they've decided to segregate these parents or the pupils, the ones not so bright and the ones they're saying that they are bright, to remain in Komarok. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Cecilia Wakesho, coming to us live from Kayole, just giving us more details into that dramatic opening experience for the parents who had taken their children to a New Light Academy in Kayole. We now want to cross over to Nakuru County, where we want to speak to our reporter, Victor Gale, just also get a sense of what's happening in Nakuru County and what are people doing when it comes to back to school. Good afternoon, Ogale. What's the latest from your end in regard to back to school fever?
Well, Abi, since Monday, the streets of Nakuru have been busy with lots of human traffic. Banks have been filled with people trying to perhaps to pay school fees for their sons and their daughters. Supermarkets, the same. We've seen long queues in supermarkets, shops that are bookshops, or rather outlets that are selling stationaries as well as uniforms. A good example is here where I'm standing outside Shower Fitters, which is one of the oldest uniform selling shops not only in the country but also here in Nakuru. And as early as 6, people have been in the queues, and just as a mitigating factor, just to ensure that there is easy transition, or rather the customers are served better inside the shop handlers are opening in bits, people are entering in small numbers, perhaps 3 people, they enter, they are served, then they get out, and it's closed. I don't know if the cameraman can get that shot. There is a very long queue, and we've had parents who've stayed here for 1 hour. But it is all in the spirit or in the name of back to school, as each and every parent wants to see their son, their daughter get back to school. We also managed to go to a couple of schools in Nakuru town and also in other sub-counties here in Nakuru County. And the situation there, it was a buzz of activity with students, with pupils seeking admission to the early childhood centers, though most of them were crying. Perhaps they're used to staying at home, watching cartoons, being with their parents. And they were there, went to a couple of schools, others joining Standard 1. And another interesting bit, Abi, is the fact that schools that perform pretty well in the 2016 KCPE examinations, we have parents who want to transfer their pupils from other schools to join those schools so that they can sit their final Class 8 exam there. And I'm joined by a parent whom I found here at the queue outside Shower Fitters by the name of Njoroge Nganga. And he's just going to tell us 1 or 2 things. Perhaps I'll ask him, Njoroge, Kenyans, we are known to be last-minute people. We heard all the time from November, from when the schools closed, December, Why today? Yet students are supposed to report today and tomorrow.
I'm also in the same dilemma because I've been standing here and queuing here for the last 2 hours. It's been crazy, but thanks to God, it's moving. And I think it's a culture we have as Kenyans. We tend to take our time because we just from Christmas, where New Year was just here, so we take each day at a time. But I can always ask my fellow parents to actually take their good time, proper planning, because I should not have been here if I was here in November and maybe last 2 months, maybe October. I would have been able to do my shopping in a good way. But all done and said, we wish that Matiang'i could even add us 1 more week as parents, because these things are coming up so fast and so quickly. Christmas, New Year, and back to school. So I would request Matiang'i to look into these affairs and give us a break of maybe 1 week to be able to put our house in order.
Well, Aby, another interesting bit also here in Nakuru, we realized that most parents who are buying books or other stationaries for their pupils and students, for their sons and daughters, most of them are not going to bookshops. Perhaps they are complaining that the prices are much high, and they are opting to go to people who are selling second-hand books that have been used by other pupils. Others even come and exchange. Well, perhaps you're going to Form 4 and you have books that you used in Form 3. You come and you're given books. And Njoroge, in line with that, are you going to do the same, or perhaps you know someone who's doing the same?
Well, I know people who are in business because it's business at the end of the day, but I would prefer going to the bookshop because you never know. You might get a book that was maybe stolen from another place, and then you go to school and one of the students finds the name of their parents in that book and they say, "Hii kitabu ilikuwa yetu." So I would prefer going to the bookshop by myself, buy the books by myself, and promote the bookshop, business guys, and then we all going to be having some good business at the end of the day. Yes.
Well, Aby, that is what is happening here in Nakuru, and back to you.
Thanks a lot there, Victor Gale, just giving us more info in regard to how parents are preparing to take their children back to school. Of course, that continues to be one of the key stories we follow up on here at KTN News.